Hey everyone, I'm back with another update. In this episode, I'll cover drug cartels, the Somalian fraud schemes, and immigration related news. Of course, I'll end with the noteworthy tidbits. After being called out for creating the video some claim encouraged sedition, Senator Mark Kelly doubled down on his attacks against President Trump, the Department of War, and War Secretary Pete Hegseth. Kelly threatened Hegseth with legal consequences after he took out more narco terrorists, but the Trump administration has made it clear they will continue to strike boats trafficking drugs into the United States. Kelly still hasn't been able to identify an illegal order Trump has given, so what Kelly is really doing is just creating drama for attention. There was an incident, however, in which a strike left two survivors in the Caribbean who clung to the boat's wreckage. Those two survivors, instead of being rescued, were hit with another strike, killing them. The White House confirmed that Hegseth did not give the order for the strike on the survivors, but it's easy to see why some would be upset over this incident. As for Nicolas Maduro, President Trump spoke with him on the phone, saying about the phone call, "I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call." On to the Somalian fraud schemes. On November 30th, over 400 Minnesota Department of Human Services employees publicly accused Minnesota Governor Tim Walz of being 100% responsible for the fraud, claiming there were early warnings of massive fraud as far back as 2020. They also claimed that whistleblowers faced retaliation, including monitoring, threats, repression, and efforts to discredit reports, even targeting families. A quote from their post said, "We let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, hoping for partnership, but no, we got the opposite response." The account quickly went viral, receiving millions of views, but it was temporarily suspended on X, sparking claims of censorship before the account was reinstated. On NBC's Meet the Press, host Kristen Welker confronted Walz about the schemes, and he deflected blame. He took responsibility for putting people in jail, but insisted it's not just Somalis and said governors can't solve everything. He pivoted to President Trump, saying there's a big difference between fraud and corruption is something he knows about. Walz accused Trump of demonizing an entire group of people to stoke division. Walz's ex post that day, responding to a Trump pardon story, said, "Just to be clear, there will be no pardons for fraudsters in Minnesota." This day marked a turning point, with internal state employees breaking ranks to turn a federal probe into a direct assault on Walz's leadership. Federal investigations were launched on December 1st, with House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer announcing a probe into Walz's role, citing serious concerns about how his administration allowed millions to be stolen. He demanded documents on what Walz knew and why investigations were stalled, and said because of Governor Walz's negligence, criminals, including Somali terrorists, stole nearly $1 billion while children suffered. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirmed an investigation into whether Minnesota funds reached al-Shabaab and in an ex post said, "At my direction, the U.S. Treasury is investigating allegations under the feckless mismanagement of the Biden administration and Governor Tim Walz. Hardworking Minnesotans' tax dollars may have been diverted to the terrorist organization al-Shabaab." Let's shift to immigration-related news. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirmed that up to 100,000 Afghans that were let in under Biden are now being re-examined, and federal investigators believe that the Afghan National Guard shooter was radicalized through connections in his home community and state. Border Czar Tom Homan said that most third world migrants will be deported because it's not possible to vet all of them, especially considering most terrorists aren't in a database because they don't have systems in place like we do. President Trump confirmed he will denaturalize foreigners and institute remigration, explaining, "If we have criminals that came into our country and they were naturalized maybe through Biden or somebody that didn't know what they were doing, if I have the power to do it, I would denaturalize." Absolutely. ICE is ramping up arrests and deportations in Muslim-dominated Dearborn, Michigan, and it was confirmed that New York City is harboring 7,169 known criminal illegal aliens, including hundreds of murderers and sexual predators. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins confirmed that SNAP and all USDA programs are being reviewed to kick off any illegals receiving federal benefits, with 22 blue states refusing to turn over their data. Hispanic businesses in New Orleans have put up signs saying "ICE not welcome here," and Housing Secretary Scott Turner confirmed he is actively purging illegals from all public housing and HUD programs. The Trump administration is cracking down on up to 7,000 CDL license providers because they continue to fail to abide by federal standards, with 16,000 under intense review. Now it's time for the noteworthy tidbits, which are brought to you today by Big Fork Brands. Let me tell you about them quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. All right, let's get back to the tidbits. First Lady Melania and Second Lady Usha wrote Christmas cards together and created care packages at Joint Base Andrews to be sent to deployed troops for Christmas. Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is still in serious condition, fighting for his life in the hospital, but there have been some positive signs. Virginia Governor Morrissey reports that Wolf responded to a nurse with a thumbs up when asked if he could hear her, and he wiggled his toes. President Trump said he's spoken with Wolf's family, and he invited fallen Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom's family to the White House to honor Sarah. President Trump urged America First patriots in Tennessee's 7th Congressional District to go out and vote for Matt Van Epps. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Ukrainian negotiators in Miami, Florida, with the intent to bring an end to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and Rubio made the point that, in his words, this is not just about ending the war. This is about ending a war in a way that creates a mechanism and a way forward that will allow them to be independent and sovereign and never have another war again. The Senate is set to consider the impeachment of Judge James Boasberg, with the Judiciary Committee holding a hearing on holding rogue judges accountable. Boasberg has refused to testify. The Indiana House proposed its 100% red 2026 congressional redistricting map. Activist judges have disqualified Alina Habba as U.S. Attorney for New Jersey. President Trump signed the peace deal between Rwanda and Congo today, hosting the presidents of both countries. President Trump signed a law that gives Medal of Honor recipients their first pension raise in 25 years, increasing from $16,880 per year to over $67,000 per year. Senator Bernie Moreno filed legislation to permanently get rid of dual citizenship, giving people 1 year to decide which country they want to be a citizen of. James Comey and Letitia James may be indicted again this week. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem met with President Trump to recommend a full travel ban on every country flooding our nation, and soon after that meeting, Trump announced he's considering a wider travel ban on more countries. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries threatened to prosecute Trump allies if Democrats reclaim power, saying, "All these GOP extremists and Trump sycophants, the statute of limitations is 5 years. It will be well beyond the end of the Trump administration." Lastly, the Senate voted to advance Trump nominee David Bragdon to be district judge for the Middle District of North Carolina. That's all I have for today. I'll be back with another update soon. Until then, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast, and follow me on Instagram and X at Shades of Jade Pod. Thank you for listening and have a great day.